Joseon Dynasty, it was common for nobles to have their children raised by nannies. It was believed that the characteristics of the child would naturally follow the nannies because the baby consumed her milk. The royal nanny was selected among the ladies who just gave birth and possessed a virtuous nature. When the crown prince ascended the throne, his nanny was given the position of Lady Bongbo, which was of the highest rank, a level 1. The position was similar in rank to that of today's vice minister. The noble ladies usually received official court ranks that corresponded to their husbands' ranks. But the Lady Bongbo was the only one who received her rank on her own merits as the king's nanny. Lady Bongbo is written about in detail even in the daily record of the Grand Secretariat. The king was ordering that Lady Bongbo's funeral be a state funeral. The king treated Lady Bongbo with the utmost respect. The royal nannies were valuable people whom no king has ever treated poorly. Lady Bongbo was the nanny in charge of aiding the crown prince and building his character. However, that was not all that she did. It was also her job to cure the crown prince if he ever became ill. How could a nanny who wasn't a doctor cure the crown prince's illness? We can find the answer in the daily records. It was a conversation on whether to directly feed the medicine to the prince or feed it through the nanny. The stomach and spleen of a child are usually weak, so the organs may be damaged if the child is given strong medicine directly. Therefore, the nanny took the medicine instead and transferred the medicinal properties to the baby through her breast milk. If the prince's illness worsened, they checked the nanny first. In 1752, King Cheongjo, who was the crown prince at the time, became ill and was defecating 11 times a day. King Yongjo and the officials of the royal pharmacy discussed appropriate prescriptions, and according to the daily record, they speculated that the nanny's drinking habits were the cause of the prince's illness. Prescribed with the nanny's drinking habits in consideration. If the nanny enjoyed drinking, all he had to do was change the nanny. So why was the king being so lenient? It was believed among the nobility that changing a nanny was detrimental to the baby's health and character development. Also, to the royal family, the idea of changing the nanny felt like artificially changing the prince's destiny. Crown Prince Munyo, King Cheongjo's firstborn son, became the crown prince when he turned 3, but he died at the age of 5. The cause of his death was measles. It was common for people to die of measles at the time, but when the crown prince died, all the scholars and officials in charge of appeals called for the punishment of the relevant medical personnel and the nanny. had temporarily stopped breastfeeding at the time because she was sick, so she couldn't be faulted for that. Also, the kings of the Joseon Dynasty had always been generous when it came to the flaws of their royal nannies. Today, we learn about a special type of woman in the Joseon Dynasty from the daily record of the Grand Secretariat. It is a record of everything that was seen and heard for 288 years. We learned an interesting part of history today, thanks to such thorough record-keeping. The king's life was full of important ceremonies in the Joseon Dynasty. From the time the child that would become king was born, grew up, got married, ascended the throne, and met his death. Every event in the process was a state ceremony, and all the details regarding ceremonies were recorded in words and paintings. These recordings are called uige, the royal protocols of the Joseon Dynasty. Uige is Korea's valuable heritage that encompasses the history and traditions of the royal court of the Joseon Dynasty and an original form of art. The culture of Joseon's royal court, we could only imagine, can now be seen through the uige. The word uige means the book that presents the standards of rights. The ones existing are those written since the 17th century. There are over 560 different types and 3,500 books. It is a record of repetitive events such as royal weddings, funerals, constructions, and feasts that served as a reference for future similar occasions. To carry out the various royal ceremonies, a temporary directorate called Togam was created. It was in charge of the whole ceremony and the production of the uige. When making the uige, not only was the ceremony described in words, but paintings of scenes and tools were also included. We can realistically perceive the ceremonies that were conducted at the time through the paintings, and even see details on the supplies used that we couldn't have known from written records alone. Such records are unprecedented in the world, and the uige was listed as a UNESCO Memory of the World Register for its invaluable worth in June 2007.